Yo, yo, thanks for tuning in to the Maniacal Pod Talk. I'm your host, Brian, Murph in the streets. And today, we got a very special guest. The first guest ever on the Maniacal Pod Talk. We got my man, Trav Dave, in the building.
I'm here.
And we going to get into it. We going to have a conversation. And we going to talk about what maniacal mean to both of us.
Word.
But before we do that, I'm going to say this. I was blessed to get this intro by none other than the audio unit himself.
Oh, my God.
Mike, please play that theme music, man.
Shout out to Jack.
All right, like I said, today we got a very special guest. My guy Trav Dave is here in the building today. And we've been plotting on this for quite some time.
Facts.
When he told me that, he said, invite me to the show. And I said, all right. And so things just kind of made sense right now. I've known Trav for a little while, and we just gonna get into what we're gonna talk about here. First of all, I want to go ahead and give a quick reminder on what maniacal actually means. It represents that unwavering, that unyielding, that dying passion in your heart that makes you want to go up and go get it each and every day. And it's just something when you got that passion in you, you can't quit on yourself. And so it's all about having that maniacal mindset and really just putting your boots to the ground and really just going after it. And so that's what the maniacal mindset is all about. And really quick, as the first guest on the show.
Gifts.
Listen.
Gifts.
I'm waiting on a pack to get in here, but I just want you to see what you're going to get as the first. Just feel that, man.
Oh, this is good material, too.
Like that's
Remind me, yeah.
That's 9 ounces, my brother.
I like this.
I put a lot of thought. I searched for it. You got the French Terry on the inside of there.
See.
And
Look
so,
at that.
listen, bro, it takes a lot of time to put that together. But, when they get in next week, I'm going to track you down and make sure you get yours, bro.
Oh, I appreciate it, brother.
Because ain't nobody putting out nothing like this right
Oh,
now.
no. And, obviously we'll get into the help you did with my Needle to the Groove shirt. So we'll talk about that, too.
For sure. All right, so listen, man. I want to talk about really quick how I first met Trav. A lot of people are familiar with Trav from the What We Talking About podcast, and that's pretty much the first time I met because I had got with my guy Des. I felt like, there were some things right. There were some things that I felt like I wanted to kind of help with. Me and Des had a conversation, and he kind of introduced me to the rest of the guys, and from that point on is when I first met Trav. And just outside of that, we've been rocking for a little while now. I've helped him with a couple of little things that he needs, little side projects or whatnot. And, we just been building our own relationship, and everything's just been running smooth. You know what I mean?
I just, what it is? You have vision, and I respect it.
I appreciate that.
That's a lot of people don't respect somebody's vision because they feel like I can do it too. There's a lot of things I know I'm not good at. That I peep that you're good at. So it's like, yeah, man, the making the connections and, the being the creative. I tell people all the time, like, I'm not a creative. I'm just like, I'm a good team player.
Okay. That's important to know that, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's an asset.
Yeah, like, I can help with an idea. Like, if you have a dope idea, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can add my 2 cents on and try to make it, but you are a creative and a visionary, and I see that. So, I always respected the vision.
I appreciate that, man, for sure. So we got that out of the way. Let's talk about where you actually from, man.
Listen, man. So everybody knows that Columbus is home, been home for a long time, but I am from Newark, Ohio.
Newark,
from
Ohio.
Eastern Avenue, Newark, Ohio. And, it's a small white town. That's where I grew up at, and that's where home is. And, not a lot of us made it out. And it ain't one of those stories like, I ain't make it out like that. But, I always represent home because I always feel like everybody else get their home represented.
Yeah,
so.
and Newark isn't really a bad place. I would say
It depends.
It depends, but it's coming from my perspective, and where that comes from is really because I know Newark well enough to know my way around a little bit. Most people don't know, but like I was a Stephen Barry's head.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you've been down there a little bit.
I've been down there a little bit for a long time, and back when the Starberries was really out. Like
Yes.
I would go down there and feel like I was really doing. I had bags of shoes, so I'm familiar with the area. You know what I mean? So Newark is not a bad place. Like I'm sure everybody got their pockets.
Oh yeah.
But tell me something like, what is something that you picked up from Newark that you feel like you brought to Columbus when you came up here?
Definitely being open-minded. When we finally moved to Columbus and I met kids from Columbus.
How old was you?
I was 15 years old.
Okay.
And I realized like I knew so much more about street life and women than grown men.
Really?
Just realized like, oh, y'all don't, where's the, in Newark, we thought it was normal, you know what I'm saying? Like being outside, running the streets, you know what I'm saying? Like, I tell people like growing up in Newark is like, it's a lot of drugs and there's a lot of babies having babies.
Yeah.
That was just the reality of the situation. I grew up around and I thought it was normal. I didn't realize it wasn't normal till I moved to the city and I met other kids, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, y'all don't, where's the,
I mean, because Newark is a much smaller place, so I can see that people probably got more things at their fingertips.
Yeah.
As far as being outside, you might not be able to do the same things, but you still out there.
Yep.
So you came to Columbus around 15. What school did you start out at?
When I moved from Newark, we went to Eastmore.
Okay.
So it was a culture shock. Because I grew up around, my neighborhood was where the black people live. We call it the East End.
Okay.
But I grew up around white people, you know what I'm saying? Like my whole life until we moved to Columbus. So true story, me and my mom walked into Eastmore first day, to sign me up. Walking down the halls, I'm like, oh my God, there's so many black people. Like I've never seen this many black people together.
Yeah.
While we were walking through the halls, there was a fight. I'm like,
Really?
oh, this is the type of time we on? Like, this about to be wicked. Like, and, my mom was like, first thing she said, she's like, I hope I didn't make a mistake. And I'm like, we here now.
Yeah.
Like, and she signed me up for school. And then after a while, it was a kind of adjustment at first, but I could hoop.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't like D1 material, but I could hoop. And people knew I could hoop. So that's how I end up being cool with people at school. At lunchtime, we would hoop, and I could hoop. It was the and one era, so I could do all the and one moves and all that. And people knew I could hoop, and people knew I knew music.
So let me ask you what hooping, because the more I've been around and the more I've gotten to know you, like we know a lot of the same people. How old are you, Trav?
I am 44, bro.
44. Okay, so you about the same age as my brother. I'm 40. Okay, and so it makes sense because I grew up on the north side, Walnut Creek.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so when you mention a lot of people that whether it be the Dave Guest, you know what I mean, the Kev Houston.
Brother, I miss that.
I know,
dude,
man. And so a lot of those people I actually grew up with. And so I was always kind of curious, right? Like, how did you meet that pocket of people on the north side?
All right, so after high school, I had a friend, shout out to Herm, my man Herm Walker. He went to the military.
Okay.
And before he left, he was like, what you gonna do after high school? Like, I had no plans of going to college. I was just gonna get a job. I didn't know. And he was like, man, you should join the military. So I was like, well, you know, I'm gonna just do it. You know, I'm gonna just do it. But I was like, I'm gonna join the National Guard because I'm low-key scared. Like, you know, I'm gonna go through the military, but I know I'll be home. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm not gonna be in Iraq or anything like that. So, long story short, in the military, I met my man Dion. Dion, best friend is Rashad. Rashad had a record deal.
Okay.
You know, and they were from, like, Dion from the east side, but Rashad's from the north side.
Okay.
So I started hanging around them for music reasons. When I started rapping, them was the first dudes to actually produce me, you know what I'm saying, and get me in the studio. They knew everybody on the north side. Okay.
So that's starting
how
to make sense.
I ended up meeting everybody on the north side because I would be with them.
Okay, so that makes sense because I always was curious. I'm like, man, I wonder how Trav know all of these cats. Because them was like family to me. You know what I mean? Yep. Just growing up, and they always looked out for me. And, you know, I'm still close to a lot of them guys to this day.
Yeah, I see. Shout out to Reef, Dez's brother, man. Al Jeezy, that's my guy.
For sure.
Man, I love them dudes, man.
For sure, man.
Yeah, through music, Dion and Rashad, Elevator Music, that's how I met Dave and everybody. And me and Dave, you know, especially back then, everybody said we look alike, you know what I'm saying?
I can see that. I can see people saying that.
Yeah, everybody said we look alike, so we always call each other twin or brother. Like back then, before it became a thing, that was my guy, man.
I feel that. So let's talk about when you started rapping. What's the thing that made you feel like you could actually do it?
So again, I'm in the military, and there's a couple people in my neighborhood that rap. Like now I go by King Veda, but back then it was Leon or Ellie to that and Cool, and he used to rap. And again, when I met Dion was like. He was like, I felt like they was in the music industry because, like I said, his best friend had a record deal. He was already on albums. He was signed to.
So they was doing some stuff.
Yeah, he was signed to Mace's label, All Out. So when I met them, I'm like, and I heard their music, the whole 3RD. That was the name of their group, the 3RD or the Third. I heard their music. I was like, yo, this don't sound like nothing local. Like this is the best music I ever heard out of Ohio ever. Like. I want to be a rapper, you know what I'm saying? Like, they can do this, I definitely could do this, you know? So I remember writing my first raps, and another story in there is I had a friend, an older guy named Ken. Long story short, he was getting a divorce. Okay. His wife was like, you got to get all these records and turntables out of my house. He didn't want to put it in storage. So me and him worked together. He was like, man, you think your mom will let me put my records and my turntables in your basement? I'm like, hell yeah. like she wouldn't care at all. So he came over one day. We load records in my basement. He set up the turntables, everything.
You back there, you like, yeah.
So, it's funny with DJing now, but so he set up everything. So instead of me learning how to DJ, I was like, I'm going to record raps. So we used to take tapes. We'll put on instrumentals, have 2 microphones, a tape, a literal cassette tape. We would put it in there, press record, and we would do 1 takes of songs. Choruses and everything. So 1
take is hard. Man.
1 take is super hard. Right? So if you mess up, you got to stop, rewind it. We had to do all that. So, you know, once we actually made like a demo. Like, I didn't even know at the time, but we made like a 4-song demo. I gave it to Dion. Dion played it for Rashad. Rashad was like, nah, y'all dope. like y'all real MCs. So, you know, basically we started rocking with Elevator Music, and you know what I'm saying? And like I said, Shah was signed, and then he ended up getting signed to the same record label that Nelly was on, For Real Universal. You know what I'm saying? So we like,
yeah, y'all like, man, this.
We watch how Nelly put the Lunatics on us, so we thinking like, Shy gonna do the same with us.
Oh, you know for sure. I mean, that's rational thinking.
Yeah, and this is, you know, I had met J. Rawls, and J. Rawls did Brown Skin Lady for Kweli and Mos, and that was like one of my favorite songs. So, you know, back then, this is early 2000s, so, you know, this is even a little bit before MySpace. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So we start doing shows, and you know,
Man,
we
before you
had a
think
good
about
time,
before
man.
MySpace, it's completely different now.
Oh yeah, if we knew what we knew then,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Obviously, you know, hindsight is always 2020, but yeah, man, it was a fun time, like rapping, and you get to know all the rappers in the city, and it isn't like it is now where everybody
Right.
rap. Like you had to be nice back then,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right. So you think about, you know, the time that you spent doing that. What do you think you learned most about that time, like as far as yourself when it comes to like the grind that you had to have and like the passion behind it? Do you think that you still carry any of that to this day?
I absolutely carry it. What I learned, you know, is that just because you have a dream doesn't make it everybody else's dream. You know, even if they're on. So again, you know, I'm thinking Shad is going to do us like the Nelly Lunatics type thing. That wasn't Shad's vision. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know that because I didn't ask. And, you know, he was just recording, getting dope at his production. Like, I got to work with some MCs, but I'm an R&B singer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a record deal for R&B and singing. As far as hip hop, like y'all my guys, so we just gonna rock and see what happens. But in my mind, I'm thinking it's a business. Like he's gonna try to get us on, and that wasn't really his foresight. You know, what I'm saying?
That's interesting because that makes me think about how important having clarity and understanding is when you in the midst of doing something, man. Because a lot of times we do things blindly with our vision, and sometimes the people that we might be linked up with, visions could be something completely different, and we end up feeling away when, you know, but all we really had to do is probably just ask a question.
I realize that all the time. Like my vision ain't everybody else's vision. If we don't have a conversation about it, we don't try to get an understanding, then you just gonna be floating. And then when something go wrong, you're gonna be like
looking crazy.
That was your fault. You didn't like nah. Like
so let me ask you then, how do you, knowing that and carrying that to who you are to this day, right? And obviously we're going to get into what you're into now, DJing and things like that.
Yes,
how
sir.
does that experience make you negotiate what you got to now as far as like being upfront, asking the questions? How do you handle that?
You just gotta understand. You gotta understand. You gotta respect. You gotta respect people's time. And you gotta ask questions, and it doesn't have to be an asshole way or a malicious way. Just ask, like, what is the vision, like, you know? And I think that leads to a lot of people doing stuff on their own, like how you do. Like you do a lot of stuff on your own because you understand your vision.
Right.
You know, you might get a little help there and there, but you want to keep your vision.
Right. And the reality is, even what you saying that is, when you stick to your vision, sometimes you find yourself having to do stuff on your own. You know what I mean? And if you're lucky, and we'll talk about this too, because I really believe being like a genuine individual is vital. And so if you're lucky when you're trying to complete your vision, you run into people that's meant to be in your life and to help you. Like we wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for my brother Mike on the other side of the table right now. You know what I mean? And
Setup is beautiful.
Man, it's crazy.
You got to give me a sheet, man, so I can send it out to people, man. Y'all need to tap in. Y'all podcasters need to tap in.
Listen, and so so we talked about you rapping, your experience there, and kind of what you've learned from that. Tell me about Trav outside of hip hop. What other kind of music are you into?
So,
what is something we don't know about, maybe?
All right, so I always tell people, like, you know, like I am a lover of music in all genres of music, or I try to find something I like within it. You know, I try not to limit myself when it comes to music. I got 2 older brothers and an older sister. So my older sister loved pop.
Okay.
Straight pop, you know, growing up, she loved pop. My oldest brother liked rock and roll.
That might be from Newark.
Yeah. My older brother loved rock and roll. He loved it, you know, because he always got drum all around the house and all that. And he loved like Pink Floyd and stuff like that. And then my other brother, he was the hip hop head, and he was the person that, you know, was my idol, you know. But in the house, you can hear anything from Cyndi Lauper to Poor Righteous Teachers to, like I said, Pink Floyd. Like, and that's how I grew up. So I never let that change. Like, I always kept that fresh. So I always tell people, like, I'm a hip hop head to the core. I'm a super nerd. Everybody knows that. I get on people's nerves because I have fun facts. Just like I had a fun fact for you as soon as I see you outside, I had a fun fact for you. Like, did you know? Yeah. Like, but the all right. So funny story, nerdy type shit. The number one song on the pop charts, the year I was born, was Gloria Gaynor's "I Will Survive." Oh, so it's a disco record.
It's crazy that you know that.
Yes, yes, that's what type of music nerd I am, right? So it's a disco record.
Right.
So I just went and studied disco, like from '69 to '79. I could tell you all about disco. I can tell you all about that. On October 10th, 1979 is when they had the riots in Wrigley Field, where they did the Disco Sucks and they broke all the disco CDs. Like, that's what type of person I am. So disco is probably my favorite era of music. Okay. You know, hip hop is always going to be there, but hip hop is like the Jay-Z. Like, you don't have to include that in the conversation.
Yeah. What's funny about disco is I like disco too, but it's probably for a different reason. Like, so I'm a huge Nas fan.
Right.
Okay.
Right,
so
right.
that's my favorite rapper, right? And you ever seen the Netflix show he put out? What is it called? It's called what
is
is
it about Queens?
It's about the era of disco and then DJing.
I'm not sure. I seen one he put out. He might, but it has something to do with Queens and all the drug dealers from Queens and all that stuff.
It's called The Get Down.
The show To Get Down?
Yeah. It's on that, and so that talked a lot about the disco era. Yeah. And the girl on that show, Mylene, she was like a church girl. And this, I'm sure, is all caps, so it couldn't have been a real story. But it was based in the real era, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so she came out of the church, and her dad was going crazy because he was the pastor. But she ended up singing a disco song. And so just that show, it kind of picks up in that disco era. There's a ton of disco music in that show. And so I'm like, this stuff was all right.
Yeah, I love disco. You know, the 4 on the floor beat, basically, that is the basis of disco. It's just, I just feel like that music is always positive and it's always a good time. Yeah. You know, it's great vibes. Like,
ain't no beef during the disco.
Nah, if you beefing during disco, like, there's a lot of drugs and sex during disco.
There's a lot of other stuff going on.
Ain't no beef.
There definitely ain't no beef.
So I love disco, 80s pop. You know, like I said, like Madonna, George Michael's, obviously Michael, obviously Prince. You know, like, I love 80s pop music and I can listen to it all. And then I can remember, like, the first hip hop song I fell in love with was Rolling with Kid and Play. Oh, la, hey. Okay. Mike, what you know about that? Roll, Kid and Play. That is funny. Yeah, that was the first hip hop song I fell in love with. And I was like, man, this is crazy. My favorite video of all time, and Mike, I'm sure you know this, My Philosophy by KRS-One. And guess what? Mike, you remember in the video when they had the black and white, Chris had the 88 threes on. He had the, yes. Yes.
That's all right, man. I remember. So my favorite one, obviously, I'm 4 years younger, but my brother is your age, so I was influenced heavy by him, right? Yeah. So when I first started paying attention, Skee-Lo, I wish I was a little bit taller, right? Which sounds silly. But that was the first CD I ever bought, bro. So I jumped from Skee-Lo, which is goofy, straight to Nas. So the one that really hooked me was If I Ruled the World.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first time I actually paid attention to lyrics and stuff and actually meant something to me. Because my brother had me draped off in a bunch of different stuff. Like, I was a Yuck Mouth fan for a certain time.
God bless.
Like, so it was just a lot of stuff from back then that he would listen to, because he graduated from Mifflin in '98. And so just that era was just different back then, and it was just a lot of different pockets you could fall into in music in general.
Yeah. You know, when I was in high school, it's you know, the no limit craze was super big.
No Limit was crazy.
Cash Money was just coming, and I was super duper East Coast bias.
Okay.
Like, you know, that was lyrical, miracle, spiritual, and that was my thing. And I'm like, man, I ain't gonna hold you. But then I heard Ghetto D by Master P, and I was like, yo,
Something different.
like, this is fire. Like, I cannot front on this at all.
Yeah, I remember because growing up in Walnut Creek, Winding Hills, like I said, around a lot of the older cats, they used to play that heavy. And back then, it was nothing to just put the house speaker, you know, the big speaker come up to your hip, them big speakers.
Yep.
They would just put them on the porch and just be...
And the that brown wood, you never forget that.
And they just have them on the porch. So you just go down the street, you got different people playing different types of music like that. So I'm definitely influenced by that. Let me get into something that I'm passionate about real quick, that I would assume you are, being a dad, right?
Yeah.
Man, what does being a dad mean to Trav Dave?
So I was a young dad. You know, I had my first kid at 17.
Okay.
16 turning 17.
Okay. You was fresh into Columbus by that time.
Yeah, bro. So I always say this. At first, like, I was just too young. You know, I didn't understand what being a dad was. Like, I come from a divorce home, you know what I'm saying? So me and my dad was cool, you know, we got along, but I understood the divorce, you know what I'm saying? That's how we end up moving to Columbus, because my parents got divorced, you know what I'm saying? So being a young dad, I didn't know then what I know now as far as being a father, you know what I'm saying? So I always tell my son, and my oldest daughter, you know, like, I grew up with y'all. So, you know.
Do you think they understand that?
I hope so. Yeah. I try to explain it, you know, like, I grew up with y'all. I didn't know anything. I'm still torn between, I want to be a kid. Like, I want to be with my friends. Like, I want to go out on the weekends. I'm just now getting quote unquote popular. Like, I don't know.
And coming from that viewpoint, it's not even a personal thing. It ain't that. Know. You're right. It ain't that I chose to not do this, or like, you didn't know. Yeah. All you knew is what you should have been doing during that time.
Yeah. All I know is if I provided money and bought some clothes, then, you know, and my mom ended up being a single mom that, you know, she had to take care of her responsibilities. And then, you know, I always tell people, and this, I'll get back to that, but in high school, I had 2 of my friends living with me.
Oh, okay.
You know, so it was a lot. And now that I'm older and I realize how important it is to be a good father, like, with the older ones, I wish I can get that time back, but now I just try to be there for them, and I try to answer questions. I have honest conversations with them. With the younger ones, bro, I'm just like,
yeah.
You know.
I seen you post recently that the 2 youngest didn't want to dress up on Halloween. How did that make you feel, man?
If you follow my Instagram, you know, we always did family dress up for Halloween. Like, we always did, you know, whatever outfits it was, we did it as a family. And this was the first year that they didn't want to do it. And I was like crushed. Like, you know, I was crushed. But, you know, my 9-year-old, she wanted to be David Bowie. And I thought that was so
cool.
fire.
That was cool.
You know, she's slowly learning music and getting into it. And I just want to just put the full court press on her. Like, you should listen to this. But I'm going to let her find her own way, you know. So, yeah, man, I just understand it now. You know, I just understand it a lot more and realize it's more than just, you know, buying clothes and giving money away.
Right. So as a dad, and telling me what you told me, what is something that you feel like going forward as you get older and as you continue to build relationships with your kids, what is something that you want to get better at?
Communication.
Okay.
Like, real communication, like having real talks with them, and not like with my parents. I could just speak on obviously my experience with my parents. my parents were great. They did not communicate with me a lot of things. It was always about like,
I don't think my parents just didn't say nothing.
yeah, they
it wasn't your
didn't
business.
communicate about, having kids early, they just wanted me to be safe.
Right.
That's it. That's all. They want to make sure I was sheltered and safe.
Yeah.
They didn't communicate. They didn't have real life conversations. So, as, my babies, they get older, I just want to have these real life conversations with them about the world.
Yeah.
And give them my perspective of it. They're going to experience it on their own. But, I just want to have them real life conversations instead of, making sure like, oh, everything is going to be fine.
Yeah.
Everything is going to be perfect, because we don't live in that reality.
Right. That's funny, because when you think about what your parents want for you, they do just want you to be safe.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And growing up in the era that we kind of come from, the parents didn't do a whole lot of talking about any of their personal stuff. It was just, you did what I told you to do, and this is what it was. So like, it's funny because my mom's version of keeping me safe was sending me to summer school every summer, from elementary school all the way through high school.
Yeah.
Sometimes I might have needed it. Other times I didn't, but she was like, I know where you're going to be at for these amount of hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was a mental break for them, because they know you was going to be safe.
Yeah. And it's funny because I that's how I met Ty Hine, actually. And me and him, we built a dope relationship too.
Shout out to Kingdom League.
Right. We would sit in, we was at Fort Hayes in a summer school class, just watching, it was a wild summer school class.
Yeah.
But, so that was my mom's version of just keeping me safe and just put me somewhere. I had crazy credits when it was time to graduate. They like, why you got so many credits? I'm like, man, I've been going to summer school my whole life. And it was just crazy, man. So that all of that is interesting, man. And I just think as a father, it's important for dads to have communication with their kids. Like right now, my son is 8. He's dealing with, separation and divorce from me and his mom. Yeah. And it's been about a year since I've lived in the actual household with him. And I know that he's still going through the transition, but, I have those real conversations on that 8-year-old level. Of course, you can't just dump
you got to meet them where they at.
Right.
For sure.
Right. And so I can see that he's coming along fine, but I still try to make, like, I get him every day. I pick him up from school every day. Like, I see him every day. I made sure I let him know, like, this is not a situation where you're not ever going to see me. He might go 2 days, depending on the weekend situation. But so it's just important for dads to just really know how important they are. And I just want to tell you, like, of course, I don't know your father's story, but I understand what you've been doing with your kids because you posted and you see it. So I want to commend you on that, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And to be honest and transparent, like, I try to post less. I don't like people that do post their kids all the time. That's cool. That's not my thing. So, like, I try to post less on there. I'm weird about it. You know?
But that's fine though. Like, cause your relationship, whether it be family, whether it be, girlfriend, wife situation or kid situation, like, it really ain't nobody's business. You know what I mean? For me personally, I post less of what me and my son do now because of the transition we got going on. But like the stuff that I got on there and got archives on my social media is really, everywhere. Until he started school. I was hurt when he started school. But like for me, I'm just documenting that for him. You know what I mean? So one day he'll be able to, tap into Instagram. And if he want to go watch them videos, I always tell him, like, you remember when we did this? He'd be like, yeah. I'm like, make sure you remember that.
I'll take pictures of the kids and then I'll text it to them.
Yeah,
so
no, that's look. You ain't gotta put it online.
The gram ain't what the gram used to be.
Man, it's a whole lot of people looking that don't mean you no good anyway on the gram, man. So let's transition a little bit, man. Let's get into more of a maniacal mindset of,
I like that.
Trav Dave and this journey that he's on today, right? So I know that during COVID, it was a tough time for you.
Oh, man.
So explain to the people, Like, what was Trav Dave's journey through COVID like?
So my birthday is in March, right? Mm-hmm. So it was my birthday. That's when they kind of like announced like there's something going on in the world, you know. Mm-hmm. That's when I know y'all remember, but Tom Hanks was like the first person, the first person I remember that say had COVID, and that was like around my birthday, and I was like, remember because everybody was like, only the rich people get COVID.
And there was only the rich. That's fun. I didn't even think about that till you just said it, but it was only the rich people.
Yeah, they was like only rich people get COVID. Y'all good? Y'all broke? I'm like,
that's
I was
crazy.
Like, that's cool. So it was March 20th of 2020. I got a call from my HR. Like, we laying everybody off. Like, because those who don't know, I work I'm a corporate travel agent. You know, that's my career. So, you know, travel was the first thing to go, right? It was the first thing to go. Right. Like, so they laid us off. So I'm like, damn, like I ain't never been laid off before. Like I just bought a new car. Like, like dead ass. I just bought a new car in January. That's crazy. So I'm like, what I'm gonna do? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna hold you. When the unemployment came out with the extra, you know, all the what was it called? Essential workers or whatever. Yeah, yep. They all had to go to work, so they ain't get it. Man. Boy, I ran that shit to the tippy top, my G.
Hey, as you should have, bro.
Yeah, like, and you know what I'm saying? I was strategic, so obviously we couldn't go nowhere, you know, for about a year. So all I did was just save. Like, bro, I didn't buy nothing new. Like, I had the same shoes. I ain't buy, like, we couldn't go to no clubs.
It didn't make no sense.
Nowhere. Like, the most I bought was, like, black T-shirts, like, because we did a live show during COVID.
Yeah, y'all did.
You know what I'm saying? So, that whole 2020, the rest of 2020, like, I just stack. So about 2021 came around, you know, my man Gary, I always got shout out GP. He was a manager at a construction agency, you know what I'm saying? And they were like, they had a temporary project, and the project happened to be the new Crew Stadium. Oh, you know what I'm saying?
I remember you was working out there for a minute.
So he was like, you ever did construction before? I'm like, nigga, my hands made to touch women. I don't know nothing about no construction. He like, listen, this how much they pay an hour? I was like, sign me up. So, you know what I'm saying? 2021, that's what I did most of the time. I did the construction joint, you know what I'm saying? Then that kind of ran out. But during that time, I was like, what is something that I always want to do that I never really had the chance to, or had the money to, or just the time to? I got all this time. I was like, man, I always wanted to be a DJ. And it was like, all right. I talked to my man. I always got to shout him out, DJ Reese 2.0. He was like, listen, buy this little controller. It's only $99. It's a real mini controller. He was like, you know, that way, if you like it, you can upgrade. But if you don't like it, you only spend $99 and you got to practice, you know. And I always got to shout out Reese, CEO Reese, Major League Reese. He gave me my first computer, like gave it to me. Like,
that's dope.
Gave, like, here, boom. So
was it just for music, or like
just to be a DJ?
That's all right.
You know, Reese, I salute him. I love him to death because he really changed the trajectory for me. But yeah, so I got the little controller. I start practicing, and I'm like, all right, I think I'm pretty good at this. You know what I'm saying? Then I bought another controller that was like $300, and I got a little bit better. And you know what I'm saying? So that was all of 2021. But I was still scared. Like, I was scared to DJ, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always got to shout out Sarah, too. Sarah had a house party during COVID. I don't know why. But, you know, I love you, Sarah. Love you to death. And that was the first place I ever DJ'd in public. Really? Was at Sarah's house for like 4 hours. And
How many people you think was there?
Oh, it was like 50, maybe 50, 40
during
people.
COVID, sir?
Yeah, I definitely got COVID. I definitely got COVID from there. I remember the moment the dude dapped me up, and then the next day I was sick. I was like, oh, yeah, this dude gave me COVID. Like, man. But, yeah, so that was like, I use the pandemic as a springboard to get into DJing. You know what I'm
So
saying?
that was the pandemic was your incubator time.
Yeah, like, should I jump out the window? Should I do it? Should I really do it? I'm scared. Self-doubt kicking in. Like, all my OGs is DJs. You know, I got tons of OGs that's DJs.
Right.
Like, I've always been with the DJs. I ran with a DJ crew when I wasn't a DJ. So all that was in my head. But I'm like, man, like, I think I could be good, man. I know music, you know, in my mind, I know music better than everybody else. So at least I know how to put two songs together.
I mean, I would venture to say, you know music if disco is one of your favorite joints, because you know music.
Yeah. So I was like, you know, we were still doing stuff with WWTB. We would have the verses and stuff like that. And, you know, technically I wasn't good, but, you know, like, I'm like getting a feel and getting an itch. And like, I'm like,
I mean, that's with anything though, bro. Like, it don't matter if it's your first time on a new job, your first time stepping out doing the DJ. Yeah. Like, you gonna be nervous no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like we don't give ourselves grace to be okay being nervous. You know what I mean? And the reality is, if you take that
word is resonating with me today.
Hey, that's good.
Today, since this morning.
Really?
I promise you. So it's good to hear that.
Listen,
it just reinforces it.
Grace, bro. But like, so it's important to take the first step. And the reality is, a lot of people got a lot of things that they want to do, but they just won't take that first step.
Scary, man. Speaking for myself, I was always scared of what my peers would think.
Right.
You know, I already know that, like, the DJ culture, that is a cutthroat business. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say this publicly. You could clip this up. The DJ industry has the most haters. More haters than rap industry, more haters than modeling, more, because everybody think that they know music.
Wow.
And the reality of the situation is everybody doesn't know music. You just like your song.
Wow.
You know, and it's okay to like your song. That's okay. But to actually know music is a whole different, like, that's why there's classes at Harvard and stuff like that for music. Like, people get scholarships to go to school for music. Like,
you know, when you say it like that, I don't think I ever really thought about it like that. Like, it's serious.
Oh,
it's not a game.
No, it's not, bro. Like, people just think, just because I like this, you know, they always laugh at me, but I like this Boss Man D-Lo song. Like, all right, you just like the song. You like the way it make you feel, but do you really understand music? Do you know what a 16 is? Do you know what a bridge is? And these are the basics of the basics. Like,
you know, so honestly, thinking about it, it feels like, I'm going to reach a little bit. It feels like the fact that you come from where you come from, Newark, and the household having all of them different styles of music in it, that might be a superpower, bro.
I feel like it is, you know. And one thing, I'm always willing to learn. I'm never the one that's the end all be all. I'm always willing to learn. And it's always, like, exciting to learn.
Right.
So, you know, like, again, like, I realized today that Shine Bad Boys is a sample from Grace Jones that I did not know.
Crazy.
And I was so excited.
That's crazy.
Like, you was the first person I told that. Yeah. Like, I text my man, Armand, shout out to Armand. I texted him this morning. He didn't respond yet, so I'm sick. I'm like,
I got to tell somebody else.
I was like, somebody got to understand this.
Funny.
Like, and that's how I always carry music. Like, it's still exciting to learn.
Right.
You know?
Right. No, and that's dope. And I feel like once a person come to their own and they kind of want to venture out on their own to do different things, you got to be excited to learn stuff. You also got to be excited to admit when you're wrong too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying that just because it goes with the journey. You know what I'm saying? And it might not really apply to, you know, what you're into as far as DJing and things like that. But anybody that's okay,
I've been wrong. Like, but this is super fire. Like,
I guess so. I guess it do. And then you got to take your emotions or feelings out of it, and then just go with, you know.
Or you got to understand that everybody's not excited as you are.
Okay.
Or just because you think it's like super incredible. Like some people like because they don't care like you care, and it's okay that they don't care. You just gotta respect that. Like, you just don't love it like I do. That's cool.
How do you feel when you gotta kind of play to the crowd and you can tell that they kind of don't care about the stuff you care about?
So it's two ways to look at it. Am I getting paid? Am I getting a check cut at the end of the night? You want to hear Sexy Red 17 times in a row? Am I getting paid at the end of the night?
Yeah, okay.
Cool. But then, I make sure I get in spaces where I can be creative.
Right.
Or, what I'm saying, I have I have a couple friends, shout out to my man, DJ Byrne, what I'm saying? That's one of my biggest inspirations. And he's a close friend. Them are the people I could talk to, like,
right.
And bounce ideas and we could be creative together, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, if you put me in a space and they say you got to play trap music for 4 hours, how much is a check? Guess what? These bills don't pay themselves.
Nah, you right. So is that the only...
These Jordans ain't cheap.
No, they not. So coming out of COVID, and now you're practicing DJing, you're starting to do it a little bit more. What do you think the turning point was when you was like, man, let me really take myself serious with this?
All right, so actually it's coming up. It'll be 2 years, November 23rd. So I got one of my best friends. Her name is Raina, right? Mm-hmm. True story. We went to Guitar Center.
Okay.
My OG DJ D Boogie, he got a Rain 1, and he would let me practice on it. Sometimes I would bring my little controller next to it, and it was all whack compared to the Rain 1 and shit. So I'm like, he got Rain 1, that's what I want, so we can use each other's controller,
Right.
Pause, that sounds wild. So we went to Guitar Center, right? They had one Rain 1 left. This was a Wednesday. Went there. It was like $1,500. I could finance it, whatever. I'm like, cool, like, and
did you go for that?
Long story short, we left. We got back in the car. She's like, you don't want to DJ. Like, you bullshitting. Like, she a straight up person. Like, I
done came across her a couple of times in some of this. So she don't play.
She don't play. So she's like, you don't want to DJ. You wasting time, like, and shit. That shit resonated with me all night, bro. I woke up the next day and went straight to Guitar Center. It took 4 hours. Wow. I got that Rain 1. I came out of there smiling, cheesing, like, it's on, like, you know what I'm saying? So I ended up getting it, come back to the crib, and that's why I say I officially became a DJ that day. Because the rest of the time, I'm just like, oh, this is cute, like.
And to drop that type of money,
$1,500.
It's time to take it serious.
I was like, shit, I gotta get this money back, so I gotta get gigs, so I gotta practice, so I can get good. So ever since then, it's been on. You know what I'm saying? That's when I officially was like, all right, I'm going to be a DJ. I'm going to turn down the noise of what everybody else think, what everybody else say. And I would, ask my DJ friends for advice. I would ask them so many questions, like, where you get your music from? How do you do this? How do you do that? And, I just learn and listen. And I would practice in the crib, you know what I'm saying? And I still practice.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I hope so.
I practiced last night.
And I'm sure you're having fun practicing too. You know what I mean?
It's the best. When you love music like I do, you might get tired of playing like hip hop, but then that's when you can go into your other bags.
Right.
And then when you find samples and you find the original and you like, how can I blend the original with the samples and how can I manipulate this? For fun, like those are the moments, man.
Right. That's dope, man. So let me think. So you've taken it more serious since that time, and obviously, you still work, right? You still got it.
Absolutely.
So what is DJ? Right? So what is the time management like? And we getting close towards the end of the list we got, but we're gonna touch a couple more things. But what's the time management like as far as doing your hustle, your DJing passion, and having to do daily life?
It's rough. I'm not gonna hold you. It's rough. You know, trying to, you almost gotta have a set schedule and be flexible for yourself.
That's crazy.
You know, it's like,
That sound crazy.
yeah, it's just like, cause I work literally like 8 to 5, you know.
Those are not friendly hours when you're trying to do your own thing.
No. And then, you know, the kids might have events.
Right.
Might have to go watch a kid, you know, might have to, you know. So when you get time to practice, just practice, whether it's 30-minute practice or you putting together, you practicing a song combination. Like, I wonder, do these two records go together? All right, bet I know they two. I could put these in a crate. So, you know, I know these two records work together. You know, practice, whether it's 15 minutes. Sometimes I just turn on the controller, practice scratching. You know, trying to learn how to scratch. And you know, somebody taught me something, I watch it. Or you know, when I'm listening to music or something like that, I'm like, ooh, that song will work with the song. Let me go ahead and put that in my arsenal. Because we all got access to the same music. Right. It's about how you deliver it, you know. So I always keep that in mind. So I don't beat myself up with like, I got to practice 4 hours every day. Some days it might be 30 minutes. Some day I might be in a groove and I can go for 2 hours. So I get home, say I finally get done doing what I do at 9, you know, from 9 to 11, just go crazy. You know what I'm saying? And it is a challenge, you know, like you be wanting to like just stop, but then you know, that passion,
I mean,
that maniacal passion keeps you going.
It's unwavering. It's going to keep you getting to it, man. And so, you know, I listen to obviously what we talking about on a regular basis since day one.
Yes, sir.
And I do know that Reese kind of let everybody know, you know, that you were stepping away for a little while, handle your business. Everything is still love and it's good.
Love them boys, man.
And I tie that to, you know, time, because in my mind, when I heard it, I just figured, you know, Trav got a lot going on.
Yeah.
You know, Trav probably really want to use his time a little differently, get to, you know, his craft more. So I feel like I understood, and I hope people that are in y'all's pocket and y'all's lane understands it's not always about issues, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to.
So to break that down, you know, as a longtime listener, you know, it was a lot of bicker with WWTV. You know, me and Daz always go at it. You know, me and
it was always funny. Always fun.
You know, but at the end of the day, I love them boys. You know what I'm saying? We created something in the city. We didn't have no blueprint. You know, I always make the Joe Budden joke with them, but to be honest, like we was before Joe. You know what I'm saying? Like even trying to do like a network. You know what I'm saying? We tried, like, but we didn't really have no blueprint. But with WWTV, that was some of the funnest times, and I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot of lessons, just arguing with your brothers, just learning from your brothers, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it was, telling y'all now, it was no beef, it was no internal struggle, it was none of that, you know. To be transparent with you, it's been on my mind for a minute, and it's more so because DJ is starting to pick up, you know. Like, I was starting to get gigs on Sundays, and I was missing a lot of shows, you know, because I was gigging on Sunday, and they understood that, you know, and they would always say, "Get your money, like, we got you, like, cool." But it was starting to get ridiculous because I'm trying to be outside, but you know, I was trying to cook.
So.
So, you know, the decision to leave WWTB has been in my mind for a minute. I just felt like now was the perfect time because I am gigging a lot. And they understood, you know, it was a quick and easy conversation, you know. And like I said, it wasn't no beef, no issues, none of that. Like,
tell me what was some of your funnest moments?
Live shows is always the funnest.
Man, hold on real quick, right? I always say this I probably say it to Dez more than anybody, but like, and I probably said it to Blaze too. Because I go a lot of places by myself.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean?
Me too. That's the best way to roll.
The live show, and y'all tell people all the time during y'all show, if y'all haven't been to a live WWTB show,
you're missing out because it ain't nothing but ladies.
it's a crime.
There's so many women that came out, man.
But for real, what I like about it, and I'll always say this, and I stick by it. Like with me moving around by myself a lot, I always feel comfortable. I appreciate it. It's never been an issue, and like I look forward to it because I've never been the type of guy to go to any kind of club, and that was just always a space. Whenever y'all put on a live show, like I know that I can be and just chill. I'm gonna see some people I know.
Yep.
But
we never had an incident at none of our live shows. Always been more women than men. If that's your thing. And
what's your favorite?
Oh. My favorite,
or a couple,
The Burger I Am one was super dope. That was so much fun. What's the pizza place?
Late night slice. That was nice.
That was super dope because we had the people from Cleveland come down, and that was crazy. We had the photo booth in there. We had the backdrop. We had, we had the bottles of Flow. Shout out to Flow, what I'm saying? Steady Flow and all them boys. Shout out to Ash with that. We, even the last one at XO was super fun. It was so much fun that a lot of people don't know that the music went silent for like 10, 15 minutes.
People
and
just still having fun.
Even noticed.
That's crazy.
That's how much fun we had. Like,
that's crazy.
So yeah, man, live shows is always fun, man. The one at Easton during COVID was super fun. Those was my favorite times. Even though like it's a lot of work that goes into them. Once we were on stage together, our chemistry kicked in.
Right.
And I feel like our chemistry was unmatched.
It's an unmatched chemistry, even just being able to help out in certain areas and just kind of see when the lights come on, like y'all just always do your thing.
Yeah, that was one thing. Like I always told Dez, like, no matter what you do, I already know you LeBron, you're gonna show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Reese is gonna have his glasses on. You know what I'm saying? He gonna be fly. That's what he do. You know what I'm saying? Reese gonna be fly. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be running around worried about the music.
Man, sweating.
Sweating. Got my fat nigga towel. I'm gonna be running around. Blaze gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Blaze gonna be like, we got this, bro.
Yeah.
Relax. Just chill. Like, we got this, So that dynamic was always fun, man. It was always fun with them boys, man. But yeah, like I had to, I just told him I was leaving the pod. More so because I got more gigs on Sundays coming up, and balancing time and everything is like I gotta still spend time with the girls.
Right.
I can't DJ all night, Friday night, Saturday night, pod Sunday, then try to work 9 to 5 and fit the kid. Like it's just.
Right. Nah, I feel you. Shout out to the brothers, man, real quick. But let me ask you a little bit about Needle to the Groove.
Needle to the Groove. So, Needle to the Groove was born out of two reasons. A necessity because I needed something else to talk about. You know what I'm saying? And as much as I love them dudes, like we low key was like a music podcast, but we talked about every other thing. Like, you know me, I can talk about music for hours.
Right.
So I strictly wanted to talk about music, and then I always wanted to pick my DJ friend's brain. You know what I'm saying? Pause. Like, I just wanted to ask them questions about DJing. So I'm like, listen, I can start a podcast on my own, and I can learn from my DJ friends, and I can learn how to be a better DJ.
At the same time.
At the same damn time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That was like, that's what I'm going to do. So, even my first episode, I didn't even have a name for the show. I had DJ O Sharp come over, and we was just talking, and I'm recording. Like, and then the title of Needle to the Groove came from a Stevie Wonder song. Just because a record got a groove don't make it in the groove. You know what I'm saying?
The name is dope, man.
Yeah,
Mike,
thank you.
Can you throw a couple of those slides up for us, Mike, so the people can see?
Yeah,
like
man.
that right there is a shirt. Trav, when he reached out to me, he wanted to sell some merch.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I'm the merch guy.
Yeah,
So let's
definitely.
put something together. So I'll put a little bedazzle. This picture right here, pause right there if you can for a second, Mike.
Shout out to Craig.
What does that
man.
mean to you to have?
Oh, that was everything, man. Craig Digger is one of the best DJs in the city. He's one of the most creative DJs in the city. He treats turntables like an instrument, which a lot of people don't do.
Wow.
They just use it as a tool to play music. He treats it like an instrument.
Wow.
And they call him Craig Digger, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He do what he do. And he had bought a shirt, and I wrote a handwritten note. I wrote handwritten notes for everybody that bought a shirt. You know what I'm saying? And he had posted that, bro. And I like teary-eyed, man, because it's like, I didn't expect that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's my man. So I really didn't expect it. Like, oh, that's great. I can text Crate right now. Like, Crate, I need help with this. What do you need? Boom, boom, boom. Just how you get it done. Like, right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I came to you. I'm like, yo, merch would be dope. And I got to shout out Shanae. Shanae came up with the Needle to the Groove logo and all that. You know what I'm saying?
It's a dope design for sure.
I always got to big her up. She came up with my new logo for my computer too, the Trav Dave logo too. But yeah, she came up with that. So I hit you up. I know this is what you do. You know what I'm saying? So
one of the many.
Yeah. I'm like, just do what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It was one of my favorite designs to do, just based off the way the logo looked.
Yeah.
She did. I don't know her, but she did an excellent job on that logo. It's a fire
she's
logo,
super creative.
bro.
She's an introvert, but she's super creative.
But the crazy thing was, so when you sent it to me, I just wanted to keep it in the same pocket of what it was. So I'm like, let me try my best to make this just look like a record cover kind of a situation. Yep. You know what I mean? And it just made sense to go with that. Man, most people don't know, if you didn't get to feel that shirt, it was a suede t-shirt.
Yes.
And most people don't sell suede t-shirts. It's just, some people might hit you with a tri-blend, it's soft or whatever. But that suede, it felt like suede. Yeah, and the whole thing was just dope, t-shirt. Man. So I appreciate it. Even though that was your guy that put it in that plaque, like that means something to me too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Your name was on the shirt.
Right. And so it meant something to me too. And I'm like, yo, that's dope. It's hanging on somebody's wall.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate you letting me be a part of that too, man.
I had to copy Crate. I had to get one frame. Shout out to Rachel. She helped me get that frame. Got that joint done, man. So yeah, it was super dope.
That's all right, man. So let me get into this last question I want to ask you, Trav. Was a lot of times, like, we struggle in different areas, right? We struggle with let me get it right. We struggle with perception,
right?
So, give me some type of insight when it comes to Trav Dave and a possible struggle with that perception. What does that look like to you?
Even with DJing, right? Mm-hmm. I grew up with the usual suspects, Rich Nice, DJ O'Sharp, Brooklyn Butcher, J. Rawls, Crate. I grew up, with the Alliance DJs, DJ D Boogie, Cornbread, Dami. I grew up under DJs. Mm-hmm. I'm late in the game, you know what I'm saying? Like, these dudes is already established and had their runs and still doing their thing. DJ Drew, IQ, these are my friends in real life. You know what I'm saying? DJ Byrne, you know what I'm saying? Mr. King, one of my favorite DJs, these are my friends in real life that are really dope.
Right.
So I'm like, man, I don't want them, DJ Beat Bangers, like, I don't want their perception of me as being whack, like, or giving me a pass, like, oh, that's just Trav, that's just my man's. Yeah, he not a real.
You want it to be authentic.
I want it to be authentic. You know what I'm saying? And me being so late in the game, it's like I'm in a weird space because all of them is like my peers and my OGs, right? And then it's like the youngins, like, you know, shout out to A6 General, you know, shout out to A6 Cam, Sequel, like, you know what I'm saying? These are the youngins that's doing a thing. So I fall like, I'm an old head, but I still fall right in with the youngins, you know what I'm saying? So it's a weird space. And I don't want the perceptions of the youngins like, man, this is an old dude in the way. And I don't want my old heads to be like, man, he's just taking up space.
Yeah.
So to combat both of those thoughts and perceptions is just be dope. You know, like you gotta be dope. Like you gotta be dope. You gotta be nice. You know, like so. And I'm humble enough to ask questions to all my DJ friends. Like anytime I'm with Burn or Chase, I'm asking questions like, how do you do this? Like where? Like boom, boom. Like, you know, I'll give you an example. Like last week, I'm a Rain 1 guy. Burn is a Rev 7 guy.
Okay. Explain what that means.
So it's just like Dunks and Jordans.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like they look the same, but they different shoes, right? It's like that. So Rev 7 is more Pioneer, and that's more for like battle. Like it's set up like turntables, like 1200s.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I asked them, like a knob was turned, and I didn't know the knob was turned, and I played the song, and I couldn't hear the bass. I'm like, what's going on? And they like, bro, figure it out. Like, you got to learn the equipment. Because what if you get hired for a gig out of state, you ain't bringing your gear with you. You get there, and there's some equipment that you never seen before.
Right.
You going to turn down the gig? And it's like, nah, like, I got to figure it out. You know, gyms like that, where it's like, dang, you do got to figure it out. Like, you can't, you know, because you ain't always going to be comfortable with your equipment. Like, your equipment ain't always going to be in every spot.
Yeah, that's true. I want to touch on what you said, too. You got to be dope. Like, it really comes down to that.
Yeah, man.
The struggle with perception is whatever you about to do or you taking a shot at, you got to be dope.
Got to be dope at it. Like, you got to be dope. And, you know, obviously people have their different lenses on dope, but you can't deny it. Like, your shirt, like you said, like, nah, it's dope. Like, feel the material, bro. Nobody doing this. Like, where, you know, that's dope. Like, this production setup right now, bro.
It's dope.
I done did many a podcast. This is fire. You know what I'm
crazy,
saying?
ain't it?
Yeah, like, this is fire. Like, this is dope. And you gotta be dope.
Yeah, you gotta be dope.
Because there's too many people in your lane that's just half-ass.
That's true.
You know, and you know, obviously, as black people and black creatives, it's like a funnel, and it gets narrower and narrower. You know, but the dope always make it through. You know, the dope always make it through.
you dropping some nice ones right now.
So you want to be one of the crowd, or you want to be the dope nigga to make it through? Like, nah, fam. Like, I like, you know, like I said, I'm 2 years into really taking the DJ thing serious. Like, all right, cool. And I feel like, dang, I'll be thinking like, even though I'll be older, like, how dope will I be in the next 2 years? Will I be even like, I don't want to be the same. I want to be even better. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the DJ community is full of haters, bro. And it could be directly from DJs. Like, but if you dope, they can not like you. They can not like you for every other reason, but they can't say, well, he's whack. It's like the Drake thing. Like, we can make fun of Drake for everything else in the world. But when it comes to these albums, it's like,
he dope.
You know he nice, right? Like, he lost to Kendrick, but you know he nice. Like, don't get it twisted, man. Like, he's still that guy. Like,
that's crazy. Speaking of dope, just tell me something about that hat that you got on your head real quick, man.
Oh man. So shout out to the Nasty Boys crew. So if you know DJ Cornbread, man, Bread is a very unique individual, man. And you know, between him and Armand, they say everything is wrestling. So when we see some corny headline, Cardi B did this, he be like, man, all this is wrestling, right? So there was a wrestling duo called the Nasty Boys. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So, funny story, I had my man's Photoshop me and Bread on the Nasty Boys, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, if I ever got good at DJing, we'll be a crew.
Oh, man.
Eventually, I got good at DJing, so we the Nasty Boys, man. So it's me, Bread, DJ Dame, and DJ Ike, man. That's the Nasty Boys, man. And they got Nasty Saturdays at Empire every Saturday, man.
That's crazy.
You know.
That's dope that y'all could, create something based off of, you said, if ever I do this, this is what we gonna be. So it's cool that you held on to that and brought that full circle, man. Man, I appreciate you coming through today,
hey,
man.
I appreciate the invite, bro. Thank you for the smoothie king. You know what I'm saying, man? Like, man.
Listen, man. Look, I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation with my man Trav Dave. We learned a ton about this guy. We learned, how he's taking the maniacal mindset approach into creating his path in his own lane. You know what I mean? He went through COVID. COVID could have been a setback, but, that determination that he had has ultimately led to his path that he's on right now, which is letting him be creative. You know what I mean? Creative in what he wants to be doing, and that's doing his DJ thing, man. And so I'm going to make sure we put your socials up on here.
Yeah, man.
So people can follow you, man, and be able to tap in. Tell us what your socials are. I know that's kind of an on-the-spot thing if you ain't looking at it.
IG, IG, just Trav_Dave. So TRAV_DAVE. That's the best way to reach me. I barely be on X, Twitter, whatever. Do not follow me on Facebook because I will not follow you back. That's strictly for family, But yeah, IG is probably the best way to check me out. You know what I'm saying? I'm always posting on there about music and content. And if TikTok too. I've
been seeing you getting busy on TikTok.
Yeah, I got to do some more videos, some more mashups and stuff like that. But yeah, follow me on TikTok. Everything Trav Dave, man. TRAVDAVE, man.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure we at least got it on there just in case somebody just physically listening to the audio part, not catching the video. But, like I said, thanks for tuning in to the Maniacal Pod Talk, where we just get straight to it.
Man,
you got to keep that mindset of just hustle. Do what you got to do. We not going to worry about the perception that other people have of us, because at the end of the day, you got to be dope.
Got to be dope, man. Can't be whack, man.
You got to be dope, man. And with that said, Mike, please.
Being whack is the devil.
Please hit us with that outro, my brother. And we'll see y'all on the next time. And until then, be maniacal.
Time.